Hey everyone, today we're looking at a problem between Paul and Barnabas. Sometime later, Paul said to Barnabas, "Let's go back and visit all the brothers and sisters in every city where we preach the Lord's word. Let's see how they're doing." Barnabas wanted to take John Mark with them. Paul insisted they shouldn't take him along because he had deserted them in Pamphylia and couldn't continue with them in their work. Their argument was so intense that they went their separate ways. Barnabas took Mark and sailed to Cyprus. Paul chose Silas and left, entrusted by the brothers and sisters to the Lord's grace. He traveled through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. So we just finished a story about the church resolving a conflict well, and here we have a story where two early church leaders don't do too well. And in this conflict over bringing John Mark with them, you can ask, well, who was right? You can imagine both their arguments, right? Barnabas saying, well, Paul, you wouldn't even be here if I hadn't vouched for you. How can you not give John Mark another chance? But then Paul replying, well, John Mark, he's just too immature. He's unreliable. We can't trust him on this important job if he's going to do what he did last time. You know, honestly, I don't think I could work with someone like Paul. I get the vibe that he's a pretty intense person from his letters and what we see in Acts. And he's so outspoken, it could be hard to work with someone like that. Maybe you know somebody who has that sort of personality. But he does have a point. But then also, so does Barnabas. Does John Mark deserve grace or not? I mean, it's something Paul talks a lot about, but if we are going to forgive him, what does that look like going forward? These aren't easy questions. Most arguments are not actually about figuring out who is totally right? Either it's totally Paul or totally Barnabas. Sometimes there's not an easy right answer. Sometimes we're going to disagree about the direction that we should go. And we have to work together in spite of those differences, or find a way to continue to let others work, even if we don't fully agree with them. I think this is a big question. Can we believe that God is actually working through people when they're not doing things the way that we would do them? Now, there is good news in this, because their argument, their division, leads to two separate mission journeys. God can actually work through our mistakes. Now, that's not an excuse for us, that we get to avoid working out our differences or trying to find reconciliation or trying to make peace. I think that is central to the gospel. But the good news here is that we can have hope that our divisions don't end God's work of reconciliation. So even as we hope in that, let's continue to work towards reconciliation wherever we can.